Hello, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. And starting off the show today, we have one of our many bonded pairs. They are covering Tammy physically, and then they are also covering her with kisses. They are London and Buster. So London is going to be the smaller of the two, and she has a pink collar on to tell her apart. And then Buster's a little bit bigger, and he has a blue collar. They are about 5 years old. They are a bonded pair, meaning they have to be adopted together, and they are Bijans. As you can see, they are a dog that's going to require grooming, not only because just their fur is going to grow out, but because they get that they're white and their feet are all muddy, and then they get food in their face, and so they're a dog that's going to require a little bit more grooming than some of the other dogs that are on our adoption floor. These guys came to us because their owner was no longer able to care for them. So we are going to find them another home where they can hang out and be together. Their owner says that they are house trained and crate trained. However, when we were doing our assessment, we found that here in the shelter, they aren't really doing a great job about keeping their kennel clean. So that could be because they're just frightened here. It's an unusual situation. It's not their normal routine. But if you were to take these guys home and make them part of your family, you're going to want to assume that they are not house trained and be prepared to do all of that house training yourself. Be prepared for a couple of accidents. And then they were very shy when they first came in. So they are slowly coming out of their shells. They are much more content now. But they can be a little shy, a little nervous, especially when walking. So just exposing them and getting them socialized to different things will be important. Because they were so fearful, we were unable to test them for food aggression and object guarding. They just weren't interested in the objects that were provided to them. But what they really enjoy, as you can see, is just cuddles and attention and love. So if you can provide that for these guys, you can stop in and visit with London and Buster here at Animal Control. Because they are 5 years old, you will get a $20 reduction in their adoption fee for their senior discount for each of them, and then you'll also get another $20 off your total for taking home a bonded pair. Our next guest is BJ, and he is one of our seniors at 11 years old. He is a Chihuahua mix, and he is a handsome little guy. The first thing that jumps out at him is his ears. They are adorable, and our staff describes him as, an older dog with a heart of gold. But just like anybody, he can be a little opinionated about things. Sometimes we say he's opinionated, sometimes we say he's persnickety. Either way, he lets you know when he's not really thrilled about things that are going on. So for those reasons, I think they have recommended that he go to a home with children that are 6 years and up, just so that they have a little bit more of an understanding of boundaries with animals, so that BJ doesn't have to show off all of his opinions. He was brought to us in the beginning of the month of July, and he was brought because his owner was being evicted and obviously had no place to go, could not take care of the dog. BJ is actually a return to shelter. He was brought back in February of 2018 and was adopted out, and then now he's making a return visit with us. So one of the things about animals that are unfortunately returned is that we do have more information about them because we have information from their last day. We can see if they've maintained those types of behaviors or if they've changed a little bit. So there is a little bit more information for people to look at. It says that BJ is afraid of thunderstorms. He's playful, friendly, he rides well in the car, he walks nicely on a leash. As you can see, he is also one of our lap dogs, perfectly happy to sit up on a lap and cuddle. He can be a little shy at first, but warms up relatively quickly. He's friendly, he has no reaction or to some dogs walking by, or other dogs he kind of barks at them. Just really depends on the dog. He's easy to obtain. easy to walk, but there are days where he feels a little bit shyer and requires a little bit more time and patience there. No issues with food aggression. So all in all, he is a great older dog that just needs another chance at a loving home. Don't let his age be a deterrent for you. Older dogs are great because you know about their personality. They're much calmer, just kind of willing to snuggle and hang out with you. And smaller dogs have a longer life expectancy, so he still has plenty of good years left. These guys have been on the show previously, but we wanted to showcase them again because they're still looking for an adoptive family to call their own. They are a bonded pair, Iris and Jinx. So Iris is the big hound dog, and Jinx is the little min pin there. And they are both seniors. Iris is 8 years old, and Jinx is 5. And they have a big personality, both of them. They both have big personalities. So Iris is very kind of sweet and laid back. She just loves attention. She wants people to rub her belly, and she's not afraid to ask for it. She can be a little demanding for attention. In her kennel, she likes to bark at all the passersby until they give her a little bit of love. And then I refer to Jinx as Iris's annoying little brother. Basically, if you have a younger brother, all of the things that bothered you about him, he does the same things to Iris. He likes to mess with her when she's trying to sleep and wake her up, and he wants to play a lot more than she does. But she has a pretty good way of putting him in his place and letting him know that those things aren't okay. He is much more attached to her than she is to him. So as much as he likes to pick on her, he really loves her and relies on her for kind of a security blanket. But they are okay for short periods of time when they're separated. We've taken them for short walks separately, things like that. You will notice that when you see these two guys that there are definitely things about them that stand out. Jinx has a pretty severe underbite, which adds to his character. So he has those little teeth that stick out, and he is missing a fair amount of his teeth. And then the most noticeable thing about Iris is that front leg there. That is an old injury that's caused all of the muscles and ligaments and things to contract, so it stays bent like that, but it doesn't hold her back in any way. She runs and plays with Jinx. She gets around perfectly fine. Sometimes she just needs a little bit, some more rest breaks, if you will, to kind of rest that, because she's putting a lot more pressure on the rest of her limbs. Because she can't use that, it's important to make sure that you're keeping her at a healthy weight, because she's an older dog, and more weight will make it more difficult for her to walk on just her 3 legs and create more arthritis and things like that. So there are some medical things to be aware of when you're adopting these guys, but they are definitely worth it. They are super sweet. They both have different personalities, big personalities that will definitely add a little bit of life to your home. The last canine we have for you today is another one of our repeat guests. This is Bella, and Bella is one of the sweetest dogs on the adoption floor. She's about 8 months old, and she is a beautiful white with brindle pit bull mix. And one of the things that we have noticed about Bella during her stay is that she appears to be deaf. We have vet checked her, and the vet says that her ears appear to be perfectly normal, but when you try to get her attention, she doesn't respond. So clapping, whistling, stomping on the ground, she doesn't really turn and acknowledge that. She definitely can see a lot of things out of the corner of her eye. She can feel vibration. So there's times where we're not sure if she's reacting to some other stimuli or whether she's actually hearing us. Maybe she just has selective hearing. I know a lot of people who have that problem. But regardless of whether she can hear or not, she's an amazing dog who bonds very quickly to people. I took her to an event where she actually did really well. We were at a restaurant, so there was no counter surfing. She wasn't trying to steal food. She did really well with other dogs. She did well with all the people that she met. So the fact that she can't hear isn't necessarily something that should deter you. the most important thing is going to be being aware that she can't hear. So it's really important to have her on a leash. You don't want her to, be walking. She doesn't have good recall because she can't hear you. She can't hear oncoming traffic. She can't hear a lot of things. So for her protection, it's really going to be very important to keep her on a leash. She can still do all of the basic, dog training. You just have to learn to communicate with her through sign language or just coming up with your own signals. Dogs can learn sign language, so if you wanted to work on that with her and figure out some basic cues for her, you can do that. She likes to play with toys. She loves to run around, but she definitely bonds very, very closely with people. Now she thinks I'm basically her person because we spent 3 hours together. She thinks that she's a lap dog and will immediately jump up into your lap. So she's about a 45-pound lap dog. And I just can't say enough good things about Bella, but you do have to be mindful of the fact that she can't hear. So someone who's going to be paying attention to that and make certain considerations for her and adjust their lives, and probably a house that's not as chaotic would be a better fit for her. She will be adopted through our puppy process, which means we will take 4 applications for her and choose the best fit for Bella, and then she will also be adopted for a fee of $150. Our last guest today is one of our more exotic pets. This is Mushu the ferret, and he is one of 2 ferrets that are actually available for adoption right now at Animal Control. Mushu is about 3 years old, and he's listed as cream and white. And we do hope that we can find somebody that has ferret experience. That's our preference, is that he go to a home that has ferret experience. We also want him to go to a home where there's at least the children are at least 6 years old. The other ferret that we have is Sable, and sable colored, and her name is Ramen. And we are looking for her to go to a home where there are adults only, and it's required that she go to a home with ferret experience. She is much younger. She's about 9 months old, so she's a little bit more difficult to handle, and he's showing himself. He's a very sweet ferret, but he can have a little bit of an attitude sometimes. One of our staff mentioned that he might have been a house ferret, which meant that he was roaming around the house and had free reign. And now that he's in his cage, he's a little upset that he has to be stuck in a confined space. But he likes to curl up. He is a little bit on the bigger side. And ferrets need a lot of the same vet care that any animal would. Ferrets actually have to be rabies vaccinated, and it's also good to get them canine distemper vaccines because that's something that can affect them as well. They are very curious animals. You actually have to ferret-proof your house if they're going to be running around. They get into a lot of things. They like to chew on stuff, so you have to get toys that are going to be harder for them to chew on. They like things that jingle. They like to burrow in stuff and hang out in hammocks and stuff like that. From what I've read, the research I've done, it's basically like having a toddler in your house for the length of the life of your ferret. They can live anywhere from 6 to 10 years. And it is a commitment. They do have special needs, so you really want to make sure that you're doing research before you decide to commit to having a ferret as a pet. But here, again, for Mushu, we're looking for someone that has, it's our preference that they have experience. It's not required. But for Ramen, it's really required that whoever's going to adopt her have experience and have previously owned ferrets. And that's going to wrap it up for this portion of the show. If you tune in after the break, we're going to introduce you to some adoptable cats that are looking for forever homes here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center.
Transit services of Frederick County. With rising gas prices, transit is a less expensive way to work or school. Most commuter bus routes run every 30 minutes during weekday morning and afternoon rush hours. Bus stops are within a quarter mile of most businesses in downtown Frederick. Transit offers shuttles to Thurmont, Emmitsburg, Brunswick, Jefferson, Spring Ridge, and Route 85, or take a shuttle to the MARC train for an easy commute. Find out what nearly 1 million passengers already know. Transit connects people and places. Child abuse is not an isolated problem. It affects each of us, and it is only through each of us that child abuse can be prevented. Get involved. Call the Child Advocacy Center to find out how to help. 301-600-1758.
Welcome back. Our first feline guest is one of our longtime residents. This is Bella, and she has been with us since April, the beginning of April actually. So she's been with us for quite some time, and for whatever reason, she just keeps getting overlooked. So we wanted to showcase her again and give her an opportunity to shine and maybe find her new forever family. Bella is a tortie, and she does have a little tortitude, I'm told by some of the volunteers. She loves attention, and as you can see, she settled quite quickly onto a lap, but she lets you know when she's done, and she lets you know what she wants. She's about 3 years old, so she's still a relatively young cat, and she's just beautiful. I don't know why someone hasn't just been, stopped and struck by just how beautiful and gorgeous she is. She has definitely come out of her shell a long way. She was never really a shy cat per se, but now she's definitely coming to the front and meowing and reaching out and asking for attention. So hopefully this kind of new part of her personality will help her find a family that will be well suited for her. She was previously owned, and she did come in with the name Bella. She is just one of the many Bellas that we have available right now. She is Bella number 1 on the cat floor, and then we also have Bella number 2, and then we have a couple of Bellas on the dog floor as well. So if you're thinking about her and you want to come in and ask about her, you can ask for Bella the tortie, that will set her apart, or Bella number 1. The volunteers spend a great deal of time with her, but she is on one of the lower bottom cages, and her dark coloring can kind of make it hard for people to see her. So when you're looking through and thinking about what you want to take home, just look through all of the cages to make sure that you're not missing out on a great cat like Bella here. Because she is an adult cat, she would go home for our normal adoption fee of $97.50. Dolly is one of our relative newcomers to the adoption floor, and she is just as stunning as Bella, the last cat on the show. She's got that great medium hair fur. She's got just amazing green eyes. She's got the cute little pink nose that sets it all off. It's amazing to me that she hasn't been snatched up already, because most of the cats on our adoption floor are the domestic short hairs, so the ones with the longer fur tend to get picked up pretty quickly. So hopefully in the next few days someone will come in and want to make Dolly part of their family. She came to us as a stray. She's about 2 to 3 years old, and she is pretty calm. She is color-coded orange, which means she's just one of our individually average cats. She likes attention. She purrs really quickly once you kind of reach your hand in there in her cage and start petting her. And she's just has a very sweet kind of quietness to her. And she's going to make a great addition to any family. Because she does have that longer fur, she will require more grooming than her domestic short hair counterparts, because her fur could get matted if it was not properly cared for, which can be painful for the animals. So making sure that you're brushing her a couple more times than you would maybe a domestic short hair, and paying attention to those mats, clipping them out if you need to, just to make her more comfortable. Some longer haired cats are really great about their personal grooming, and so you don't have to do that much yourself, but other cats need a little bit of assistance. So just monitoring that. Before we send Dolly home, we'll make sure that she gets her rabies vaccine, her distemper vaccine. She came in already spayed, which is great. We will deworm her, give her flea and tick preventative. She was actually already microchipped as well, so we will help you re-register that microchip so that you can make sure that if she were to get out again as a stray, everyone would know how to get her back home to you. Adoption fee for all of our cats and kittens is $97.50. That includes all of that medical care that we're going to provide for her, as well as her room and board while she's here. If you're interested in Dolly, you can stop in at the shelter. Our hours where our kennels are open and you can meet animals are going to be on a Monday, Tuesday, and Friday from 10 to 5, Wednesday and Thursday from 12 to 8, and on Saturdays from 10 to 4. This handsome guy is Oliver, and he is another one of our longer term residents. He's been with us since the beginning of June, and he took a little longer to adjust to shelter life than most. Transitions don't happen quickly for Oliver. So for that reason, he is a purple card. He gets very stressed and scared in kind of new environments. But now on the adoption floor, in his cage where he's very comfortable, he asks for attention. I haven't spent a great deal of time with him personally, but when I went to get him out of the cage today, he came right up to the front. He was very chatty. He let me pet him. He let me pick him up, and he was comfortable with me holding him. And then he went right into the carrier very easily. That is a room where he's very comfortable. He's used to the smells, the sounds, all of the aspects of what goes on in there. And then we brought him in here to a different room with different noises, different smells, and he started to let us know that he was a little uncomfortable. Not in any aggressive way, but just very shyness, distressed, kind of meowing a little bit until he's getting used to it. So if you were to take Oliver home, know that he is a very sweet, very affectionate cat, but he is going to take some of that time and patience to warm up and feel comfortable in your home. And it might be that it's just the shelter is stressful for him, and when he's in a home environment where he's familiar with, what a home is, he might warm up quicker. But you want to be prepared for Oliver to take a long time to settle in. He is already neutered. He's already been vaccinated. He's been dewormed. He's had his flea and tick preventative. We've gone ahead and microchipped him. So he's ready to go. And at a senior, at age 5, he's going to get that $20 reduction in his adoption fee. His previous owner was moving, and that's why he was surrendered to us. He's lived with other cats. He's lived with dogs as well. They say he's friendly, calm, that he's able to handle, he's independent. They also noted that since he was an outside cat, that he was very alert. We prefer all of our cats to be indoor. That's going to be the safest thing for them. It's going to prevent them from having to deal with other animals that could possibly be a problem. It's going to prevent them from getting lost. It's going to prevent them from getting hit by a car. So it's just going to enhance their life expectancy and keep them nice and safe. So if you're interested in Oliver, you want to stop in and visit with him here, the address for our shelter is 1832 Rosemont Avenue. I am partial to cats named Fiona because I have a cat named Fiona at home, and this is a beautiful Torby named Fiona. She's about 5 to 6 years old, and she came to us as a stray. She was microchipped already, so she must have been owned at some point, and she's just a really nice cat. So she definitely had some love shown to her at some point. She's a little bit overweight. She could use a little bit of a diet, but can't we all? So that's something to take into consideration when you're talking to your vet if you were to adopt Fiona. What kind of a diet should she be on? How much food should she be eating? Those types of things. She came to us already spayed, and we have since given her all of her vaccines and dewormer, flea and tick preventative. She did have an upper respiratory infection when she arrived, and we have treated her for that. And now she's back on our adoption floor looking for a new family to call her own. She is color-coded as green, so as sweet and affectionate as she is being right now, she also has a little spunk to her. That's just part of the Torby Calico spectrum there. And she has a lot of play in her still. A lot of people think that they don't want to adopt a cat over the age of 5 because they're older and they're not going to be as playful. That is not the case. I have senior pets at home myself. I know a lot of people who have seniors, and they are just as active as any of the young adult cats, the 1-year-old, 2-year-old cats that I see here at the shelter. So don't let the fact that she's considered technically a senior deter you from making her part of your family. The adoption fee for all of our cats and kittens is typically the $97.50. When you adopt an animal that's between the ages of 5 and 9, like Fiona, then you get a $20 discount on your adoption fee. If you were to adopt an animal that was over the age of 10, then you would get a $40 reduction in your adoption fee. That covers all of the medical things that I've already discussed. We also provide you with a free well visit, so you can take advantage of that, make sure that she's good to go, and introduce her to an area vet just to make sure that she's going to get the vet care that she will require as she continues on her lifelong journey. Our final guest for you today is one of our very shy cats. This is Petey, and he's about a year old now. He's been with us since the end of May, and so he celebrated his first birthday actually here with us in the shelter. He is a handsome domestic shorthair. He's all black, and a lot of people think, well, how can you tell a black cat apart? They all have very unique faces, and Petey definitely has a very distinctive face. He's quite a handsome little guy. He's pretty petite at just 7 pounds, so he probably will not get much bigger, so he kind of has that forever kitten thing to him, which makes him very endearing. Because he is so shy, it's going to take a special family to want to take him home. He hides a lot in under his hammock in his bed when he's exposed to new people, and when he feels comfortable, he comes out, he plays with his toys, he sits out in the front, he kind of watches what's going on, and then when he's scared, he retreats to his safe place. So if you were to adopt Petey, the first thing that you're really going to need is commitment, and then patience, and you're going to have to be willing to make some kind of compromises. Things that are going to be good for shy cats are to have things in the home where they can feel safe, little hiding spots that are secure, but they're not cave-like spaces. You want them to still be part of your family. So leaving the cat carrier out with the door open, getting little beds that have like the covers so they can hide in there, the little tubes that the tunnels that they can go through, he can sit in there, even cardboard boxes so that he can be out and be part of your family but still feel safe in that enclosed space. So there's definitely some stuff that is going to pop up that you're going to need to work on. But he is a very sweet cat. The volunteers have only great things to say about him. Once he gets to know you, he really likes affection. He will ask for it from you, but it's only once you initiate interaction with him. He's not going to overtly reach out and grab your hand. What we've done for him right now to make him more comfortable is given him a couple of towels that he can hide under and burrow in. A lot of times that makes them feel safe. And he does seem to have calmed down a little bit. He's getting the gentle pets on his head, which is what he really enjoys, and he's starting to relax into his environment. But it does take a bit of time, so you can't just rush in and try to pick him up, and that makes him very uncomfortable. He is adoptable for a fee of the $97.50. He will be neutered before he leaves, and he has already received his vaccinations, and he's been microchipped and all of those other things. If you are interested in meeting with Petey, you want to stop in and visit with us here at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. That's going to wrap it up for us here this week on Pet Pals. We hope that you enjoyed meeting a few of our adoptable animals. If you didn't see something that kind of spoke to you, please stop in. We have many more animals available for adoption here, and we hope to see you soon.